Hi, everyone. Up first, I have Carla Young. Carla received her bachelor's degree in software development from ECPI University in 2018 and attended our Newport News campus. Thank you for joining me, Carla.
Hi there, thanks.
Awesome. So let's just get started and start talking about your career. Where are you currently working? What's your job title?
I work at MasterCard. I just got promoted to software engineering manager.
Awesome. Congratulations. And how long have you been in your current role? I know you said you just got promoted, but how long has it been?
Yeah, 2 days.
Oh, wow. Very new.
I've been it, I've been interim manager though for since July though, so I'm not. It's kind of jumping in, but like I have my feet wet already.
Awesome. How long have you been with MasterCard specifically?
About a year and a half, or almost a year and a half. It was July of 2022, I believe.
Great. And let's talk about in your specific job. I know you've just kind of started, but what are the specific tasks that you have? Like what's a daily day in the life look like?
So a day in the life of what we do on our team depends on if you're a cloud operations engineer or if you're infrastructure engineer. So everything we do is cloud-based. If it's infrastructure side, then it's more project work. You are deploying new resources, setting up new environments, creating proof of concepts just to see if something can work. Or if we've decided that it does work, then going ahead and implementing those. Cloud operations was more business as usual. So we're handling tickets. They're doing environment stand-ups for new customers. It's creating access points, networking, firewall, and just general helping out everyone in the company for their infrastructure needs.
Great. So let's go through your career path up until the point that you graduated ECPI until your current role. Take me through the different places of work and job titles.
So I really have to thank ECPI. It was Mr. Sullivan and Miss Sayer at the time before she was in her current role. I was like, I'm having a really rough time. I need to find a job. I have to go to online classes instead of in seat. And that's when Miss Sayer was like, "Oh, hey, Ferguson's doing this internship thing. You should apply." I'm like, this is perfect because like my old job, the hours were being cut. I had to go drive for Uber for a month.
Oh my
Don't do
goodness.
that during Halloween. I'm still picking out glitter. Um, but I applied for the internship, and then that was the one and only time that Ferguson had a hackathon. And it was me and two other students from ECPI in my developing classes. And our team actually got first place. And that
Wow.
helped me get the e-commerce application role at Ferguson. And then I was in that role for almost 3 years, I think, maybe at least 3 years. And then I moved within Ferguson to the automation orchestration team, where we took everyday tasks that people had, repeatable tasks that were just non-value adding. We used PowerShell to automate them so that they could go on to more value adding tasks. And then I was there for about 2 years, almost 2 years. And then I went to the cloud orchestration team to do more of the same stuff, but more cloud-based for Ferguson. But that's when uh, I actually got an invite to go apply for MasterCard. And then they're like, "You're amazing. We're going to take you." I'm like, "Deal." So then here I am now at MasterCard.
Great. Um, so let's go back to before you even enrolled at ECPI. Um, what made you choose software development as your field of study?
Actually, it was video games. So I I know that I didn't want to code for video games, but I had a lot of fun coding the mods for the video games that I was playing. So it was like Final Fantasy 11, coding in gear switches for my character and taking parses of everyone's battle statistics. It was a lot of really fun but unnecessary work. But then I also got into web scripting. I did my mom's accounting for her business growing up. And so I got into like Excel macros and all that fun stuff. And it just came really easily. And it took a really long time for me to turn this hobby into like, I could really make money off of this. But after seeing advertisements and like, this seems really plausible to do in a reasonable amount of time. So then I'm like, I'm just gonna go for it. The worst that'll happen is I fail, but I didn't fail. So success.
And here you are now. Awesome. So I know you said you saw advertisements and you kind of liked the accelerated program that ECPI offered. Were there any other reasons why you chose ECPI as your university?
It was also really close to my home. So it was like a 15-minute drive to class every day. Um, I also really liked how the classes were structured. So it was Monday through Thursday, early morning. We always got out pretty early afternoon, and the workload was reasonable. So like I was able to go home, take care of my son, and still do stuff around the house. And then eventually got to I could still go to school and then do my work and still take care of my family. So like it was just incredibly accommodating and convenient for me. And that's how I succeed in my job right now. It's just if it's convenient for me, I'm going to be able to do it.
Awesome. Were there any specific classes at ECPI that you still use to this day that prepared you the most for your career?
Can I say all of them? No. Like, okay,
Ah,
the project management one is really helping me. It was like a 400 level class or something, is really helping me today, specifically with this new role. But all of the developer courses where I'm learning languages, even though I don't remember the specific assignments that we did, those fundamentals that those classes taught are vital to my every single day. So it comes in for developing code, testing code, reviewing code that other people wrote. All of those things are absolutely essential.
awesome. And what would be your advice to current students who are in the program that you completed? What do you have for them?
Listen to your teacher. So I know that when we go to school, sometimes we're like, yeah, I'm just here to learn and get a degree. But like, seriously, these are human beings and they have such amazing wisdom to pass on to us. Like, I was talking to Mr. Sullivan the other day. I'm like, I to this day still use that chart that he showed us one time in class of like, people want to be hired. Like, you have passion and knowledge, and we will always take someone who's more passionate than knowledge because passion can teach knowledge. So listen to the teachers. They have such wonderful things to say. Um, and then even if you don't remember anything from the classes, take, let me rephrase that. If you don't remember the individual assignments from the classes, take the fundamentals that they teach you, and they can be applied to every part of your work.
Yeah, that's great advice. I like that chart too. That's a good thing to keep in mind too. So what's next for you?
I actually am really content where I finally am. I've been wanting to get
Nice.
into management with a code side for a really long time. So I see myself hopefully staying here for 6, 7 years at minimum and then seeing what's from there. I don't know if I'll go up or maybe if I'll change careers. You know, NASA's in the area. I've always kind of wanted to do stuff with space.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thank you so much for hopping it on here and kind of sharing more insight about your career and advice that you have for current students. I know that it's extremely valuable for our students to hear from people who were once in their shoes. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. With me, I have Kevin Rondorf. He is a 2022 graduate of our Bachelor's in Software Development program with an emphasis in data analytics. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Of course. So we're just going to kind of get into the questions. Um, Very basically, Kevin, what is your job title right now?
So right now I am a computer programmer working for the Motorsoft development team.
Awesome. Thank you. And in your job, what are some specific tasks that you have?
So this job is largely project based. And so a lot of our daily tasks include coming up with business rules when there's a new project on the line, laying out how that project's going to be. We develop websites. So a lot of our daily tasks include coding, using C Sharp, the MVC format, and interacting with the database as well using SQL Server. So most of our tasks include coding and databasing largely.
Great. And how long have you been in your current role?
I've been in this role for a year and a half. It'll be 2 years in April.
Awesome. And let's go back to before you enrolled at ECPI. What made you decide to go the software development route?
So before I went back to school, I was a mechanic and I was mildly happy there, but I ended up having a son. And the longer or the older my son got, the more I realized I wanted more. And in the mechanic field, there's room for growth, but it's very small, very minute. And I knew I wanted more. I knew eventually I'd want to be able to send my son to school, to college. And there's a lot of things that I realized it just didn't seem like it would happen on a mechanic salary. And so I always thought about going back to school. And once I realized this, I kind of got online and looked at jobs that were in demand. And I noticed there's software development was really blowing up and needed at the same time. And so I kind of got in there and did some research and the database side of things, database administrators and software development, it all really stuck out to me. And so I chose that because it seemed lucrative, but it also seemed like I'd be doing something beneficial. We do a lot of website development, giving reports, and so I enjoy doing what I do because I love databasing, I love data, and so it was just the perfect route.
Great. If you don't mind me asking, what made you choose ECPI in particular for your university?
The reviews, they had really, really great reviews, and once you hear that 0 to bachelor's in 2.5 years, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And it actually ended up being 2 years for me. And looking back, it was just a blink of an eye, and super happy I did it.
Yeah, that's important when you're doing, especially when you're in the middle of kind of doing a career change too. You want to get there quickly
Yep.
And get that part of your life moving.
Yes.
So when you think back on the classes that you took and the specific features of ECPI, what are the classes or features that you use most in your career?
So right now, it's a lot of SQL. It's a lot of the databasing that I did in school was so beneficial. Actually working and writing queries while I was in school, um, doing joins and all that kind of stuff that you learn in there. The SQL classes that they had were just awesome, and really came in here feeling like I had a solid foundation of what I was going to be doing and what I needed to do. And then also I started school right before the pandemic happened. And so I was hybrid at that time. And so I was going into class for in-seat once a week, and then the rest of it was online. So I was able to work full time and still go to school. And then once the pandemic happened, everything went fully online. And it just worked out perfectly because I was able to work, provide for the family while getting my degree. And it was just the best. So I definitely say SQL courses were awesome, and being able to go to school from home was awesome because now, as I work from home, it was a great transition to having to manage yourself almost at certain times and stay on task without somebody over your shoulder. You had to do that while you're in school as well, and so it was a great transition.
Yeah, because I'm sure as a mechanic, you were used to, being on the ground and working with your hands and switching to remote work is a change. So having that school in the middle to kind of coach you into that pattern, I'm sure was helpful.
It was a huge career change, definitely.
So for the current students who are in the software development program, what's some advice that you have for them?
My biggest piece of advice is going through grade school. You take these classes and it's really about passing the next test. It's really about passing that next quiz, get on to the next. Pass that test, pass the quiz, get on to the next. My biggest piece of advice for this degree is to harness and remember and really, really focus on containing all that information, and because you're going to need it in your field. You don't want to just pass the test and then forget what you learned about Java or JavaScript. You're going to need it in the field. So my biggest piece of advice is to really focus on learning the subject, not just going through the motions and just passing that next test to get the grade, because you're going to need it. You're going to need every part of it. And that's the really good part of ECPI as well, is that they're really preparing you for the job that you're going for. And so that would be one of my biggest pieces of advice, is definitely make sure you're learning that subject and not just, getting the information and then ditching it after the test.
Yeah, that's great advice. What's next for you? Do you have any future plans in your
I
career
do.
or school?
I really want to go back to school for my master's. That's definitely what's next for me. I'm still learning a lot just after getting my bachelor's, but I want to go back for my master's just to become more prolific in what I'm doing, and that always opens up more doors. So I definitely that's definitely high on my list. And I really want to eventually end up in a database administrator position, and so that goes along with the master's as well. And so I would definitely say next for me is getting that master's, eventually working up to being a database administrator.
Awesome.
And
Well, you know where we are. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.